This is Jarod Richardson. It is May 2nd, 2014, and our interviewee is Solomon Mathis.
I'm LaVora Perry, and today is Sunday, March 2nd, 2014, and I'll be on camera while my son, Jarod Perry Richardson, interviews Solomon Mathis. We're conducting this interview in East Cleveland in Jarod Perry Richardson's bedroom for the Social Justice Institute of Case Western Reserve University, and the project is called the Voicing in Action Project.
So, Solomon, tell me about yourself and the history of your family.
I am 18 years old. I'm a music education major, violin primary at Baldwin Wallace University. I'm in the conservatory program. I've been living in East Cleveland for 18 years, but I currently live on campus in Berea, Ohio. My mom is from Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, and my dad is as well. My grandmother moved from Georgia to Ohio in like the 50s, I think, and my grandfather is from Arkansas. And we've just been residing here since I was born at 1370 Shawview Avenue.
How did you get started with violin?
I was part of a nonprofit organization called the East Cleveland Rainbow Suzuki Strings, directed by Michelle George, Diane Sloan, and Calissa Cole. And the program was at Chambers Elementary.
So when did you get started?
I started in kindergarten at the age of 5.
Do you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it a lot, actually. At first, it was like a chore, something that I kind of had to do. And then towards like middle school, I started to enjoy it a little. And then I auditioned for when I went to Cleveland School of Arts. I auditioned and got an orchestra program there. And then around like 11th grade, junior year, I decided that it might be something that I wanted to do beyond high school, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to college for it. And then senior year, I decided to do it for school, for college. Audition as a music ed major.
What do you enjoy about the violin?
um, the violin or the program? You saying the violin?
About being in either one, whichever part you find enjoyable.
The violin, just it's a way to express yourself. There's millions and millions of scores and parts and concertos, sonatas and stuff to play. So it's like an endless amount of like just like great art. You can expose yourself. There's never enough music, and it's just sometimes to get away. And like I learned so much at school, and it's kind of cool to apply the things that I learned from school and listen to recordings and then understand why I've been told all this time to use certain techniques and practice scales and stuff like that. It's just nice to see like all of it come together. Because I never thought that I'd be playing some of the pieces and like repertoire that I'm playing now. When I was in high school, I never even thought it was possible for me to do it. But I'm actually doing it, so it's really cool to see myself improve like that.
So what are your plans when you graduate from Baldwin Wallace?
My plan, well, originally it was to be a private violin teacher. I still want to do that, but right now I see myself also directing like a like a chorus, a choir, some sort. I'm not exactly sure what age group or where, but either directing a choir, a general music teacher, or a private violin teacher.
And you mentioned that in middle school, that was when you kind of got more interested in playing the violin.
Yeah.
And where were you going to middle school?
I went to entrepreneurship preparatory school, and they didn't have violin program there, or any type of music there. I just continued taking lessons with Diane Sloan during that time, and I, because of how long I was doing it, it just became something like a routine, like part of my life. And at that point, I was thinking like maybe I would still just play after high school, like maybe go for like I think I was interested in like technologies, like science, stuff back then. But that totally changed after even high school. Even like I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. I was interested in like computer science, like gaming and stuff like that. But I decided that I'd be better off with music.
In that middle school, you attended entrepreneurial preparatory.
Mm-hmm.
Where was that located?
105th in St. Clair,
So it's in Cleveland.
near Bretnall. Yeah, Bretnall Village.
How is it that you didn't end up going to school in East Cleveland?
Because I forget exactly how we found out about this, but I was the first class. I was the first class for this a charter school, and they had sent mail out or something. And we found out about it, and my mom really wasn't satisfied with my education at Chambers Elementary, so she didn't want me to go to, I think it was Kirk back then, but now it's Heritage. She didn't want me to go to middle school in East Cleveland. She wanted me to try this new school out, which wasn't very good either. But that's how I ended up going there. I went there from 6th grade to 8th grade, I think. Yeah, 6th grade to 8th grade. So, no, actually, I only attended there 2 years, 6th to 7th grade. I started Cleveland School of the Arts in 8th grade.
So how did you learn about Cleveland School of the Arts?
A few friends of mine from E-Prep, short for entrepreneurship prep, school, had went
Short
to
for what?
entrepreneurship preparatory school. Had decided that they found out about CSA and decided they wanted to audition because they had like talents, like someone could draw and whatnot. And so I found out through them, and then my mom did a little study and research on the school, and she liked what they had to offer and heard about it was school of excellence and whatnot. So that's how I ended up auditioning there, and I got in. So I stayed there till I graduated.
And how was your experience at Cleveland School of the Arts?
It was great. It was great for the most part. I learned a lot, and even though the school doesn't have like the most money or most help to provide for their students, it still was like a really good experience. I got some exposure to some great people. I got some gigs like playing on my own outside of school performances, and it was a great time. I learned a lot there. It was a great kickstart to college.
And I'd like to backtrack a little bit to the Rainbow Suzuki program.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know about your experience in that program and any events that might have taken place in the program.
That was a lot of fun. I was a lot younger, but we would have group classes and private lessons and whatnot. It was based off Suzuki training, which is pretty much in a nutshell the study of the ear, learning music by ear instead of like note reading. So we learned how to listen to music and kind of like not mimic, but imitate and learn our music that way through listening. And then we read music. But anyways, that's the study of Suzuki. But through there, we did lessons, private lessons, group lessons, and then sometimes we went on retreats. We got to travel and perform different states and conventions and stuff, which was a lot of fun.
So the Suzuki method, you say it's a good method, it's a working method?
Yes, people I've noticed since I've been in college, people either hate it or they love it. It's great to develop the ears, but even in myself, I noticed sight reading, which is seeing music for the first time and just playing it, never seen it before, just hammering it out. Like, I'm kind of behind when it comes to that because like for years I never read music when I was younger. I only listened to music. So even now, if I hear something, I'll be able to learn it faster than just reading it. I mean, my reading has gotten a lot better because I did it for 4 years in high school, and then I'm still like enrolled in the BW. I'm in the BW Symphony at school, so that's a lot of music reading. But it's my music reading still isn't up to par as my listening skills are because of the Suzuki method. But I feel like overall it's a great start. Like my teacher, everyone has technique issues with violin, but like a lot of things that I learned in Suzuki when it came to like not even just playing, but like bow placement or alignment, everything stuck with me through middle school and high school. Even when I didn't have lessons, I still had that technique from learning it at the age of like 5 or 7 or when so there's some technique bases there, that principles that I agree with and that can be used for like a lifetime that you'll never forget. So.
So you gave a little insight on how your family came to Cleveland, but I was hoping you could shed a little light on the experience that your parents had in East Cleveland, and if you have any siblings.
My siblings are, my dad had my siblings before me, so they never lived in East Cleveland. They live in Cleveland, and they're like significantly older than me. But they, my father lived in Cleveland. He didn't live in Arkansas. Only my grandfather did, his father. But he always lived in Cleveland, and he attended. I think he attended John F. Kennedy for high school, and my mom went to Shaw High School actually for high school. So she always lived here in East Cleveland. So they haven't lived anywhere else.
What was it like for you growing up in East Cleveland on Shawview?
It was good and bad. The good was that there was a lot of like activities for which I kind of missed for youth, like the streets. We had street clubs, presidents and stuff, and they would host block parties for the students, the kids on the blocks, on the streets, so we could like have like a little party, like music and games and stuff, and people got to ride their bikes in the streets and whatnot, and they would block the street off. So it was really, and that would last like from morning till the evening, which was a lot of fun. The Civic Center was a lot of fun. We used to go over there, play basketball and play football in the field and whatnot, and going to watching my friends back. I'm not sure if they still had it, but the Chambers Dragons or something like that. That was a lot of fun watching like my friends play football or whatnot. It was a lot of activities, stuff at the library. We used to be able to read books and get like coupons of pizza and stuff. I don't know why I remember and all this stuff right now, but I used to have a lot of fun here. However, like back then, I don't know, I didn't know this because I was young and didn't really pay attention to this. I was back when all this stuff, when I was participating in all this stuff, I was like between ages like 7 and like 10, 11. But there was some parts of like the city like weren't like the safest, and like I had to like come home be not in the house but near my house by like 8 o'clock because like it was a lot of like drugs and stuff and crime going on around my house. It was a lot of abandoned properties, so my mom didn't want me like around that stuff.
Have you ever witnessed any of this violence or drugs and crime?
Yeah, actually, there's actually been a couple of drug raids like on my street, and there was a lot of drugs deals and whatnot on like the corner of my street too. And there was always a lot of shootings like behind my house, and actually there was a shooting. It was the big deal. Actually, I was a little older at this point. I was in middle school. Yeah, I was like in 6th grade. I was maybe like 12 or 13. There was a shooting in front of East Cleveland Public Library by Windermere Rapid Station, and that was I wouldn't say life-changing experience, but that was the closest I ever been to a gun, which is a very scary time. I did not enjoy that at all.
How old were you when that happened?
I was about 12. I was like in 6th grade, so I'm guessing 12, 13 with that.
So, can you think back to your earliest memories of East Cleveland and tell me what life was like back then?
I can say it was a lot more fun. Like I see now, like the younger kids, like when I come home from school, like they're just walking around the streets, or like they just seem bored. Like there was a lot more like available youth friendly around like the town. Like for example, like the bike rodeos, which were a lot of fun. I actually still have those shirts. I used to go every year. We used to like ride bikes between cones, get helmets and stickers and stuff, and food and games. It was a real fun time. And like I said, like basketball, like the inner city sports, like not for the school, but just for fun. Like a lot of that stuff, like as far as I know, they don't have it, because a lot of my friends that are still like on my street that are significantly younger, they're always complaining about like being bored or just have nothing. It seems like the kids around here have nothing to do which I wish it wasn't like that. But
The bike rodeo is not taking place anymore?
as far as I know, no. I haven't seen, like it usually took place in the summer, and I'm here in the summer. And like, even when I was in high school, I was, wondering like where that was at. Cause I live right, like my house is here. The Civic Center is like right across the street pretty much. So I never heard any, like, it used to be like real loud. There used to be a lot of people over there. I never like really heard too much about it. So as far as I know, no, it may still happen, but it must not have the draw that it had, because like my whole street used to go there. You see everyone riding bikes and would for once have helmets on. So they lost them again. But everyone, like the whole city would have like helmets and shirts and whatnot. And I just don't see that anymore. So I don't know if it's still there. It may still be there. I'm not exactly sure. They changed the time of it. I don't know. But that was one thing I missed.
So you know Belinda Kyle, right? She's the Miss Kyle, Ricky and Ron.
Yeah, I know her.
She's done a lot to get youth programming into the city. So
Mm-hmm.
two things that are happening, I'm interested in finding out what you think about it. One, the Boys and Girls Group is going to assist with the Civic Center.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of Boys and Girls?
No, I'm
They're
not.
an organization that helps boys and girls. So and it's a national organization. So they're going to they're going to come into the Civic Center and offer programs for young people there. And the other thing is the Salvation Army. You've heard of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to build a youth facility here, and it costs more than $1 million. I'm not sure exactly what the cost is, but it's going to be a brand new facility for young people. Do you think that'll have, what kind of impact, would you think that'll have on the city, first of all? And then in terms of the community center, I believe they're still gathering feedback to find out what kind of event activities or facilities young people would like to see in there. So those are my two questions. What do you think that those two developments, what kind of impact would you think they'd have on the city?
I think basically it would keep the kids out of trouble. There would be something for them to do after school, something they could do during the weekends or when school's closed or whatever, or something's going on at home. It'd be like getaway somewhere they can go. So I think it will be just something for the students, young students to do in their free time. And sorry, what was the other question?
What would you like to see in the Salvation Army Youth Center?
Probably like some type of like league, like sports league. Like I've a lot of my younger friends that like live on the street, they like to play basketball like in the streets. And instead of, almost getting ran over by cars and whatnot, maybe there could be like a place for them to actually play basketball or like football or not even, like they have more sports like table tennis or maybe a music program or something would be nice too. Like I know people, younger kids that, like to play like guitars like that. So just something that can keep them out of the streets. Bike club, anything, exercise equipment, exercise class, cooking class, anything. Just keep students out, keep the kids out of the streets.
So, what are your absolute fondest memories of East Cleveland?
I must say the block parties were a lot of fun. Collecting all the money, helping sell lemonade or in whatever way we could, and seeing all that money actually like go to something that all of us would enjoy was nice. Especially on the hot summer days, nice days. We just stay outside all day, and it was a lot of fun.
So, what were you collecting money for?
The like food items, or like balls, water balloons, paper plates, chairs, anything that like we needed. I mean, we had some of that stuff like readily available, but just like extra for us to have. Basketball hoops are like portable. We was younger, so like the little short hoops we used to play on, and just stuff for us to have. Balls, all that.
About how young?
8, 7, 9 maybe. I remember them stopping when I went to middle school. I can't remember exactly who that was, but.
So in what ways has the city changed over time, and what do you think contributed to those changes?
The good thing that changed is that I'm not seeing or hearing about as much crime as there was. That's a good thing. There wasn't, from what I remember, there wasn't much law enforcement here, which is really bad. But since we've got a new mayor and whatnot, I've noticed that we got a lot more police officers. So I think the drugs, from what I see, maybe not, but have like gone down a little bit, and just crime overall. But the thing is, like, the bad is that the extracurriculars have seemed to kind of go down the drain, and there's no one at like civic centers, like, dead now. There's no one in there. No one even talks about it, and it's like the city just has like a sense of just like boredom, like there's nothing for kids to do, which is really sad. So I would like to see that change.
How do you think that affects the youth of East Cleveland?
I mean, like, I hate to say it, but like it gives them a chance to like seek trouble. So, like, the fact that they're so bored can like jumpstart like violence in youth here. I mean, I'm not really here that much anymore, to tell you the truth, but I'm just saying from like not experience firsthand, but from what I've seen in the past, like when kids get bored, they just tear up stuff or fighting or anything. So like that's one thing, and then like they just have nothing to do. It's kind of like depressing to see. Like seems like kids just go to school and go back home. It's like sit on the porch or something, or just walk around. There's nothing for them to do anymore. So.
And you mentioned that the Civic Center is now, empty, and not many people are there anymore. Do you have any idea what may have caused that to happen?
I don't, if like maybe lack of money or something to provide programs, because there was a lot of stuff they used to do in there, and like there was cheerleader, everything, and now the activities of boys and girls is just like gone. So I'm guessing that there's like no money to support those programs anymore. No funding. So.
So Solomon, how has race or racism impacted you personally, and how has it impacted the city of East Cleveland?
Okay, I'm gonna start personally. I'm one of the very few. I'm the only black, actually, in my music education program as a freshman. Yeah, as a freshman, I'm the only black.
Is this
and
Wallace?
At Baldwin-Wallace, yeah. And it took me a really long time. And partially, this could be me, my own like insecurity or something. But it took me a really long time to like connect. And I still am getting adjusted to, even though it's the second semester, like 6 months into school, I'm still getting adjusted to being the only black one. It's actually a lot more than I thought. Like, I thought it would just be like something like easy to do, because I'd been in camps there and like one of the very few blacks, but it was more blacks actually in the camps than it was at school. So I just thought like, oh, I've done this at summer camp all the time, it'll be fine. But being the only black one, it is like, it can be kind of weird because they haven't been around African Americans before, so they act kind of like strange, not necessarily racist or anything. I'm gonna get to that in a minute, but like just they don't know how to connect to us, I'll say, and I felt kind of misplaced at first, not to the point where I wanted to leave the program, but just kind of uncomfortable. But however, there is a little racism like on the campus in general. Like, for example, I live in a dorm, it's called Constitution East, and the girls upstairs from me, they're in a sorority, and they don't like, it seems as if like a lot of them don't like being around African Americans. Like, there's only 4 African Americans on my floor, and like we notice that like when we speak to them or say hi or anything, like they kind of like roll their eyes or don't want to be bothered with us, like, or start walking fast away from us, like as if we're causing a problem or something like that. So a lot of times I notice blacks get look down upon the female, with the females more. Like, I have a lot of Caucasian male friends, but when it comes to like females, like they're not really interested in like being friends with any black people, which is kind of sad. But
You would say any, you mean not even interested in being friends with black
females, yeah, I noticed that. Some, not all of them. I don't want to say the whole campus, but a lot that I've encountered are that way.
So, have you ever experienced racism, or has race ever been a problem for you before Baldwin Wallace, or is this really the first time you've experienced
No,
it?
not really, because East Cleveland's primarily African American, so I didn't have any experience with racism before then.
I just want to clarify something you said a little while ago, that you thought that from your point of view, crime in this city has gone down under the new mayor. Can you just confirm who the mayor is right now?
Is it Gary Norton? Gary Norton.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Thank you.
And did you see any way that racism has impacted the city of East Cleveland?
Not really, because it's mainly African American. I don't know, not really. From what I've seen, I've been living here for 18 years. There's mainly us here, so not too much.
Do you think that the things that you named as, I would say, negatives, the crime, the lack of money, which rolls into the lack of, in the past, police protection, and even up to currently, what you last perceived here before you left for school, the lack of programming for young people. Do you think there's any possibility that race could play a part in that mixture of different problems?
Not particularly, because, like, for example, the same thing is happening actually right now in a town that I couldn't believe it. North Royalton, my old roommate, he lives there. And like, I always thought like those towns were like, nice, they had money, and, it was just a great thing going there. And like, he was saying how there's like a lot of drugs and teen pregnancy, and there's nothing there for, the kids to do. So it's a lot of issues. So I don't think that is really a race thing. I think it's just like the money. Like, if I feel like the town doesn't have the funding to support programs for youth, I think it's just not a bad town, but it's not going to be good things going on there. So
it's not a racist.
Yeah, I don't think it's a racist thing. Yeah, it's an economic issue, because like, and then not even just North Royalton. There's a lot of people that are of white descent that live in towns that aren't as good as we perceive them as. Like, we hear it, we go, oh, that's a good town, but like, people that actually live there, they complain about, it's the same way here, and I was really shocked by that. So I thought it might have, like, a long time ago, I thought, it's mainly primarily African Americans here, we're not gonna have anything, but it's not even like that. That's not even what it's about. It's money. That's what it comes down to, I think. So
if it's not something like race or some other like uncontrollable factor, what do you think what potential do you think East Cleveland has to improve?
I feel East Cleveland has a lot of potential, because the people I've always seen, the people here do want change. There are people here that don't just want it, but they're willing to actually do something about it. So I feel that, I don't know exactly how we would do this, but the more money we pull into the town, I feel like it would go towards the right things. So
These people you speak of, do you know any of them personally?
People are interviewing me right now. They're advocates for change in the country, in the town. Sorry. There a lot of people that live on my street, across the street from me. His name is Paul Davis. he's big into, he attends a lot of meetings for East Cleveland Council and whatnot, and he wants change. There's a lot of people like near me on my street that, you know, really care about, you know, the youth in East Cleveland and the town want better. So there's a lot of people that want that. I'm not the only one.
So, has inequality impacted you personally, or has it impacted the city of East Cleveland?
Quality.
Inequality.
Inequality.
This could range from race to sex, economic status.
Economically, I mean, the people here are middle class to not low class, but you know, like it's an underserved community. So maybe that's why not as much money or help is rolling through here. I'm not exactly sure, honestly. I don't really know how city money and like politics work, but that's my view on it. I don't think it has anything to do with race. I think it's just a socio-economic thing here.
So Solomon, can you recollect a memory or instances when the community fought for something?
We were fighting to get what was it? I can't recall what it was. Something oh, okay, I have an example. My street, exactly. For example, we had a line break, water line break. One snowstorm, pipes froze and they erupted, and water was like all over the street, and it froze over, and the city never came to fix this. Like my street, like you didn't even want to turn down our street because people would go up in the grass, like just slide all over the place. They couldn't control like their wheels and cars. And finally they came after people, I don't know, wrote letters or called or whatever. But it took a really long time for them to come out and get that fixed. So.
When did that happen? How long ago was it about?
That was this winter actually. Maybe about a month ago. And actually the funny story, kind of off topic, I was in Shaker Heights walking, and 19 Action News came, and they had picked me up, took me back home, and they saw what had happened. They were like, you know, why is the street, you know, so icy? And I told them the story. It was like, yeah, you know, if this isn't fixed, you know, call us, you know, we'll do a story about it in like within 2 days or so. And they come to find out the next morning the people were out there fixing it, so I didn't even have to call them. But they said they would interview me and whatnot, which I was kind of waiting on that, but they came and fixed it, so I was more happy about them fixing it because our street was just a mess, an icy mess. But yeah, that was this winter, maybe about a month ago when I came home for a Christmas break. No, not a month ago, 2 months ago.
How did 19 Action News how did they pick you up? How did that happen?
Well, what happened was I play the violin occasionally at the Shaker Square Farmers Market. And
where?
Shaker Square Farmers Market on Saturday mornings when I have the time to. And I didn't have a ride, so I was walking to a Coventry Library, and they were interviewing people walking around because they're having the issue there is that no one's cleaning the sidewalks. And so they thought I was a resident from Shaker Heights and was asking, you know, who do you think is responsible for this, blah, blah. And so they started interviewing me, and I just told them, you know, where I was going. I wasn't a resident there, and I just answered questions. I said, maybe the city. I'm not exactly sure who would do it. And they said, you know, where are you headed to? And I told them I was going to Coventry Library, and that took me off camera. It was like, is that where you're really going? I was like, yeah, but I was going back to East Cleveland, which is where I live. And it's like, oh, we'll give you a ride. So they gave me a ride home. And they offered to do their story on the street if it wasn't fixed within the next like 48 hours. So
regarding that story
with the street.
19, yeah, the street.
Oh, okay.
That brings to mind the media in general. What are your thoughts on the way East Cleveland's portrayed typically on television and in the newspaper?
The media, from what I see, doesn't really focus on anything positive in East Cleveland, and mainly looks at it as like a bad place. Like there's actually nice parts of East Cleveland, like that look reputable, better than where like I live, like even up like where I'm at right now is at Idlewood. Idlewood, this part of East Cleveland, like by Superior Station, is significantly nicer. Almost in the summertime looks like a different town. And like when they bring up East Cleveland, like a crime or something, it could be like almost to the border of like Cleveland, but they'll like show pictures of like Woodworth and like the bad parts of East Cleveland. It's like, okay, if the crime took place on St. Clair all the way down there, why are the cameras showing my house? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make sense. So, like, none of this part of town really, unless something happens up here, like none of this is really shown on the media. So, and this is a nice part of East Cleveland, or like McGregor, or like any of those nice places. They don't show any of that. So it's like, yeah, like McGregor, that's East Cleveland. Even all the way up there to like Forest Hill. There was parts I was driving around, someone else that doesn't even live in East Cleveland was telling me, this is still East Cleveland. And like up there, it's like really, really nice. And so you don't see that. That looks like totally different town. You don't see that in the news. You only see, down by my house or like Elm or Hayden or someone looking crazy. Like, for example, it could be a shooting all the way down like St. Clair, somewhere far away from Euclid Avenue, but yet they'll show pictures of some abandoned apartments or something that's like burned down like twice up this way. And it's like, why does East Cleveland only get like the bad, like the negatives are only shown on the media? That kind of annoys me, but.
So, well, due to the media's portrayal of East Cleveland, I'm pretty sure you've met people who do not live in East Cleveland but already have like a fixed image of it. So, maybe at Ball and Wallace or anytime you've done a performance outside of Cleveland and you mentioned that you're from East Cleveland, has anybody ever reacted in a way?
Yeah. The thing, okay, people know, not many people out there know about East Cleveland. They only know Cleveland. So they hear East, they think even worse. Because I guess the conception is the further east you go, the more crime, the worse it is, until you get to like Menor and places like that. But like anywhere in between is like bad. So like they just assume you don't want to be there, blah, blah. Or they do know about East Cleveland. They just think it's a bad place because they only hear like about the bad here. Like they know nothing good about this town. So I'd explain to them, it's not as bad as it was. It was getting better. We have more police here. It was a high crime rate, but it's starting to turn around a little bit. But they just think like this dirty, like rundown place because that's what the news shows. But that's not exactly true.
And I just want to clarify for the record, Solomon, you have a nice house in a nice street.
Yeah.
Overall, this neighborhood has older homes. It's historical homes. Your street was obviously built later than the houses here were, but it's a nice street.
Yeah.
You have a nice house.
Yeah, when I said my house, I was like doing like a cluster thing, like because as you go towards further past my house, I don't know what direction, like towards where the Civic Center is, towards Chambers Elementary School. So yeah, no, back towards like St. Clair. It just gets worse. Like those are the worst looking areas of East Cleveland, like the more abandoned properties and just.
What the media.
Yeah, that's all they take pictures of and shoot all the time. They don't focus on the nice parts of the town. So yeah, my streets is a decent, is nicer than most, but yeah.
So, how have surrounding institutions and cities impacted East Cleveland?
Surrounding institutions.
Well, like the ones at University Circle, Cleveland Clinic and the museums and everything the University Circle has, and also surrounding would be Cleveland.
Yeah.
And Cleveland Heights.
Well, the cool thing is, it's nice to have those places around near us, because kids will go there for, Like I know the museum of art attracts a lot of attention from like the inner city, East Cleveland. I know a lot of people like to go there, or Universe Circle has different festivals and stuff throughout the year for youth. So like these cities are near us, maybe 10, 15 minutes away, drive, nowhere, walking distance even sometimes. But it'd be nicer if we could have some of that stuff in our home, in our city. But it's better than nothing, I'll say. Yeah.
Do you think Cleveland and Cleveland Heights have any influence on East Cleveland?
Yeah, because yes and no. I mean, I say no because it's like a totally different town. But I feel like maybe if what we see there, goods coming out of, programs and things they have, maybe East Cleveland will adopt some of the same or try and mimic what they have. I'm not exactly sure, but I know that the students prefer sometimes going to even their library or something or anything, and they can still ride their bikes there. It's still accessible to them, so that helps.
You say ride their bikes there. Where are you talking about?
Like the Cleveland Heights libraries, I know they have like little activities for students. University Circle has things.
Such as?
They have little arts festivals and stuff like that. The Cleveland Museum of Art, even just like the park and stuff is pretty nice. So, yeah.
Which park?
Not exactly sure what it's called. Like, it's next to Severance Hall.
You mean where the pond is?
Yeah, the pond and whatnot.
Museum.
Yeah, I know kids like to ride their bikes and whatnot around there, so it's a nice little neighborhood.
Speaking of parks, what about the park system in East Cleveland?
That should definitely be revived. Like when I was younger, it was a really nice park. I had friends over, we would go there.
Which one?
Forest Hill, and it's just dead over there now. Like, someone needs to cut the grass. Like, the grass is like so high in some areas. The pond is like dirty. Like, I don't know how the birds even like live in that. Like, it's not taken care of like it should be. So.
When was the last time you were there?
Oh, that was years, probably when I was like 12. But like just driving by, it just doesn't look youth friendly like at all. Like if I was younger or a kid, I probably wouldn't want to go over there. So, yeah. Maybe one of these youth organizations can because I don't see that being something that would cost money necessarily. Maybe cost money to get more equipment or something, but like just the cleanliness of it, I feel like if it was cleaner or better taken care of, grass cut, whatnot, it'd be more reputable. Like more kids would like to go there, hang out and stuff. So maybe they could clean up there or something. That'd be nice.
So Ms. Cowell group, she works with the police athletically, and she told me some young people, I don't know if they're going to be from Shaw or whatever ages, but they're going to be working with the Parks Association to actually do exactly what you talked about.
Okay, cool.
So what do you think about that?
That'd be great because it gives a chance for kids to do something that they strongly want and believe in, and it makes a cleaner park, not just for kids, but for older people, like anybody. It's one more positive thing for the media or someone outside of East Cleveland to focus on. So
maybe you can call your contacts at 19 Action News and let them know to come.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. It'd draw some attention to the park and, maybe get some change, reform there.
What is your vision for a future East Cleveland? And tell me about the major issues that need addressing in order to better your neighborhood, community, and city.
Basically, okay, what I want to happen is probably another music program. And like further down the road, once I get my career going, I do want to maybe come back and start something, like whether it's general music classes in the schools, or my own program like I was in, or something musical, because I feel that music helps. Music can keep, peace in a neighborhood. It gives the students something to not only just keep them out of the streets, but something to focus on, minus like school. And that can really help students, so kids. So that would be nice. More things for, sports and whatnot outside of like, kids, like varsity teams, just like intramural things for the kids to do. One thing that could use changing here, the law enforcement has got better. I just say like for example, like my street, when the pipes bust, stuff like that, like utilities, like essential things just need to be like better taken care of. Like power outage, stuff like that. Like, I know this like completely not has anything to do with the rest of what I was saying, but like a power outage, for example, like my power, when it goes out, if it's fixed, if it go out on Thursday, if it's back on by Friday night or Saturday morning, I'm lucky. Like, that's a quick fix here, which it shouldn't be like that. At school, power goes out, it's back on within the next hour. You know what I mean? I feel like the water could shut off for days. Like, it has. Like, things like that. The water department, electricity company, whatever, I feel like they need to step up in getting those type of things taken care of. Because unblocking the sewers, just stuff like that to make East Cleveland cleaner. Because, like, the reason why my street was so bad was because the pipes bust, the water's running, but the water ain't got nowhere to go. The sewer is backed up with leaves and trash and oils, whatever. So it just collected. It was a lot of water. The ice was up here. Like, it was a lot of snow and ice on my street, and no one wanted to drive down there. And like, when the power went out a couple years ago, I had to live at somebody else's house for 2 days, and then back at my house in the cold. And the power was out for like 4 days. Had no power. Just cold in the dark all day. And
what season was this in?
Winter. And so that's not good at all for various reasons, obvious reasons. So just things like that. Like, I feel like this town, when things happen, power outage, tree fall, for example, like down on Shawview, storm hit a tree, took a garage out. Tree was sitting there for a week before anybody came and said, okay, the kids can't walk down the street. The kid may be touching live wires, let's get this fixed. So it's just things like that. And it fell on somebody's car too. The car sitting there destroyed with a tree on top of it. People drive by this for a week. And, nothing happened. The city never came out there until a week later. So this stuff
never came out?
They came, but it took a good 4 days for them to decide, okay, we need to get this car off. We need to get this tree off this lady's car. We need to make sure these wires are still active before it rains. It is a bigger problem. So, you know what I mean? Like, things like that, safety hazards, don't get taken care of like they should.
What about abandoned properties? What do you think about that?
They could be better monitored, because abandoned properties leave opportunity for drugs, prostitution, kids just being curious and going in there, and the house is unstable or something, it fall on top of something crazy, then that's another problem. So like, these abandoned houses, like, they need to be more monitored. Now, they can't control necessarily, forcing people to live in those houses. You can't say that, but maybe the city could, cut the grass, at least make it look like somebody might live there or just moved out, instead of giving the property opportunity to burn down 2 or 3 times and kids going there hanging out, smoking or what have you, doing whatever, illegal activities, just keeping the properties up instead of boarding them up and all of that,
Have you noticed what's been happening with abandoned and vacant properties?
Especially the ones that are, beyond repair.
I've seen some, I think some have gotten like torn down, which is...
Over 400.
Yeah, a lot of them got torn down, which is, okay, here's the thing with that. It's nice because it gets rid of the abandoned property, but then it makes this town look empty because some of these lots, nothing's being built. It's just like an empty field, which looks depressing as well. So it's like, I like the fact that they're gone because, like I said, it's one more eyesore gone, but just seeing an empty field is kind of, sad too. So,
what would you think would be the solution to that? When you wrap it, on the one hand, a property that's hazardous, like you said, and on the other, you don't want to leave emptiness. What's the solution to that?
maybe we could build maybe more libraries, or I know this is a lot of money, but maybe more libraries or like mini community centers, little rec centers, or keep the houses, but we could just fix them up to make people, coming through, maybe say, oh, hey, I might invest in that house. It wouldn't cost much to live there. I'll buy it. You know what I'm saying? And they'll take care of it, hopefully. But, maybe that's a solution. Or just put playground equipment or something in those areas. Just something there to keep people in that area. Keep the grass cut,
So you've mentioned quite a few times throughout the interview that you play the violin.
Yeah.
And you started at a very young age. And I was just wondering, how do you think your life would be different if your mother never signed you up for the Suzuki program?
I probably would have been very bored. I've been, running around streets with the wrong people, maybe getting into trouble. I would just have nothing to do. The program gave me the opportunity to go out of town, travel and whatnot. It clearly gave me the opportunity, eventually go to college.
How far have you traveled? Where have you traveled to do this program?
We went to Minneapolis. We went to some conferences, played some conferences, did performances, and like, where did we go?
What's the furthest you ever traveled to play?
I went, outside the program, I went to Africa once for Suzuki Institute that was being brought up there. Her name's Liza Barley. She started a program in Arusha, Tanzania, and she invited me to go to be one of the first classes there. It was the first year it was opening up. So that was a really great experience, and that shows how much that program has opened, so many doors for me to travel and do like my own thing. So that was a great experience actually, and I would like to start maybe one day some type of camp. I have a lot of dreams when it comes to like starting like programs and stuff, and not just with the violin, just music in general, because I want more youth involved in music.
What are you doing over the summer?
This summer I may work the Baldwin Wallace summer string camp. I may do that as a counselor, or I may I'm looking into some internships, possible internships that'll like develop into jobs later on. It's kind of cool. I'm actually starting my intro to field experience in a couple days here for school, and maybe there's always some opportunities through there. So I'm trying to network and meet as many people as I can to find out about what kind of money I can make, and not just for money, but just associates, people I can meet, work with in the future, or next year, or this summer, or whenever. Just open some doors, and so I'm really excited about that. I like meeting new people.
Okay. And what would you be prepared to do to participate in making East Cleveland better?
Like in the summer, if I'm here like consistently, I would probably go to meetings and stuff occasionally when I could, and talk about like what I see in the town that I'm residing in now currently, and how I would like some of that stuff to be here, and just how my outlook on East Cleveland has changed from just living here and living somewhere else and coming back every once in a while, during breaks or on certain weekends or whatnot. But it's kind of cool to see the different, like, I have a different like perception perspective on this town.
So since we are developing and have developed more youth programming in East Cleveland, what would you think about at some point coming here to work with the young people here?
I actually want to well into like my career after I graduate and get like teaching in public schools and stuff. I would even do it here, but I want to come back and get something off the ground started. Start something, hire people to work it, and keep teaching my other job or performing or wherever. And so that wherever like life takes me with music, it's gonna be something. I'm gonna have something music related in this city, whether it's some type of general music thing, whether it's a choir, a all school choir thing that meets and suits, I don't know, but it's gonna be something that the kids can get like out from in front of like TV or out of the streets and get them going, something to keep their brains going.
Okay, that almost concludes our interview, but, well, as you've mentioned quite a few times, you do play the violin. I thought you'll be unjust not to hear you play at least one piece.
Okay, that's fine.
This is Solomon Mathis on his violin.
I'm playing chorus from Judas Maccabeus. This is Chrysler's Preludium and Allegro for violin. I'm playing the first page.